Welcome to another edition of the Pastor's Motivational Corner. In our world today, sometimes it takes a crisis for us to recognize how much we really need each other. It's sad, but there are times we spend so much of our time fighting each other, critical of each other, judgmental, distrustful. Sometimes we treat each other as if we are the worst enemies that the other person can find. I sometimes wonder, why is it that we deal so harsher with each other than God deals with us? And ever so often, crisis reminds us how important we are to each other. Crisis reminds us that no amount of criticism, no amount of judgmentalism, no amount of hatred and animosity can get us through it. Crisis reminds us that we must put aside our differences. We must put aside our pettiness and come together. In fact, one of the things that as Christians we must stockpile on is gentleness. Gentleness is an expression of compassion in God's dealing with us, and especially with those of us who are weak. And it's something that He expects us to exhibit towards each other. Yes, folks, in Matthew 11:29, Jesus Himself tells us to take off His yoke, for He is gentle. I wish that more of us can be easier with each other. You see, folks, life is too short for us to go through our entire life fighting one another. Life is too short for us to go through life tearing down one another. And sometimes it takes a crisis to bring us flat on our backs so that we can recognize we are not invincible. We are all mortal. Each one of us will one day die. And so, folks, sometimes we have to stop investing time and energy in fighting each other, and let's start building up each other. In fact, the fruit of the Spirit is gentleness. That's one of the hallmark of God's dealing with us. He treats us with such care and gentleness. And I wish today that more of us will extend that same gentleness to each other. Yes, I know there are times when people treat you in ways that are inhuman. I know there are times when people say things about you that are not true. I know there are times when you are hurt and when you feel like retaliating. But folks, ever so often, God calls on us to go against the grain. He calls on us to treat others not like they deserve, but like He would have treated us. And ever so often, as we reflect on our own life, God never treats us the way we deserve. I sometimes look at the way even church people treat each other. We treat each other with such disrespect, such scant courtesy. We say so much inhumane and untruthful things about the other. It is as if we are fighting each other. Folks, our enemy is not each other. Our enemy is the devil. And sometimes sickness and adversity reminds us that we need each other. That you and I, we are closer than we think. And God wants us to exemplify and to exude a spirit of gentleness in our dealing with each other. Yes, folks, why not we start stockpiling on gentleness? Why not start speaking kinder words to each other? Why not start showing a bit of kindness where hatred is shown to you? I believe that this world will be a much better place if each one of us try a little gentleness, show a little gentleness, if each one of us exhibit gentleness, indeed, Jesus himself says, take his yoke. His yoke is not burdensome. Matthew 11:29. His yoke is gentle. He wants to give each one of us that spirit of gentleness. I believe today that if more of us store up gentleness in our hearts, what a better world we're going to have. What a more kinder world we will have, where people will treat each other as children of God, where the color of your skin, the content of your character, where your ethnicity will not determine the way you are treated. But folks, today, we can only raise the bar in how we relate to each other when the spirit of gentleness comes into our heart. I trust and pray today that this time of crisis would help us to recognize that we need each other and we must deal with each other kinder. We must be more gentle with each other, knowing that God is gentle with us and he wants us to exhibit that same gentleness to others. May God bless you today as you continue to seek him for a spirit of gentleness.